Lately, I've been hearing a lot about how bad the job market in the United States is, and I tried to find out fact from fiction myself online but couldn't really get to the truth. So I decided to sit down with Margil Gandhi to understand what the true situation of the job market in the United States is. Margil has completed his undergraduate degree in engineering from Mumbai University. He then ran his own travel company in India for a few years and then went to United States to pursue his master's in engineering management at Syracuse University. Today he works as a senior analyst at Goldman Sachs. I'm going to understand from him how bad the job situation is really in the United States, what students can do to get jobs in the USA, and of course his own journey from Mumbai to Goldman Sachs. This is probably one of the most insightful episodes I've done so far, so do watch it till the end. So Margil, I want to start with the question that is at everyone's top of mind. How good or bad is the job situation in the United States, particularly for international students?
Right. The situation this year alone was really tough because of all the layoffs that has happened. The stats says that there were about 1 million layoffs alone for this year specifically, which definitely includes the government layoffs that has happened, technology space, retail space, telecommunication, and few other spaces as well. So I wouldn't lie for the fact that the market is really bad as of now. Adding on top of it the administrational changes that has happened this year as well. So it has all been a chaos for people who came to the US on any visa or a specific visa. But you would see there are a set of population or there is a set of sample space that are struggling more than the other set. For example, there is one set which is a fresher, which is straight out of undergrad, straight out of masters as well. They are struggling comparatively more than people with at least 3 years of experience. Whichever country, doesn't really matter, but 3+ years of experience. A very practical reason which I have found is when a recruiter sees a profile, they are checking whether this individual or a person who is seeking for a job for this specific role, can they do this job right now or not. They don't want to spend much time training an individual as of now because of the layoffs that has happened. That has created already a huge supply in the market anyway, but the demand hasn't grown as well as much as it should be because of the administration changes, because of the layoffs, because of the AI driven layoffs that has happened as well. Maybe the candidates are not skillful enough to meet that expectation as well, and the latter half of the population is in the leverage or privilege because they have some sort of experience to leverage and sell for. That is why it becomes little bit easier, if not tougher than the first half, to at least get interview calls, because interview calls is what you are looking for initially. That actually increases and boosts the confidence, and that is when you have a feedback loop. For example, if I'm giving an interview, I know by myself that where exactly I lacked, what are the answers I could have framed better, what are the places I could have taken a pause and maybe reflected much better. So those are the instances, and this is where people with years of experience, they have a huge privilege over people with who are just freshers, immediate graduate or undergraduate.
Got it. But so I want to dig a bit deeper on this because I've been hearing about layoffs happening and there not being enough jobs since 2023, basically post COVID.
Correct.
So I wanted to also understand, like, is it worse than what it was in 23-24? Is it the same? Is it getting better? How is it?
I feel when I graduated, which was December 23, the layoffs had just begun. So it was not on a major scale. I remember clearly March or April of 2024. That's when Tesla layoff had happened, which was huge, and the market kind of crashed and it was slowed down for the next 2 months. I knew because I did not get much calls during those times. And this year it is worse because of the two reasons that I mentioned earlier. And majorly it was AI driven layoffs. Since people got laid off, there's a huge pool that a huge pool where recruiters can just pick and choose the very best candidate that they're looking for. And second would be the administrational changes, because of which maybe I saw, or there was a sense of fear among the companies that what's the point probably of hiring these individuals if they can't stick with us probably for the next 3 years or more than 3 years as well. So that has been the notion. To answer the question, 21 was great, 22 was great, 23 onwards the decline happened. 24 was when there were a few months, I remember September, October, November, and the stats of the LCA clearly mentioned as well. There was a there was a rise in the hiring as well. And ever since 2025, we have always seen layoffs happen every other month or at least once in 2 months. And these are all major companies laying off because maybe in the name of AI driven, maybe in the name of visa restriction, God knows, but it has gotten worse than what it was maybe 3 years or 4 years ago as well. So this year specifically, it was worse. Coming next year, I hope it gets better, but we'll get much clarity over the first quarter, Jan, Feb, March, of whether it picks up or whether there's huge demand or people or the companies looking to hire at least freshers or people with years of experience or not, or the only reason the employment might not rise would again be the administrational issues or the AI driven issues as well.
Got it. But you being in the industry, have you heard anything from people like, do they have plans to increase recruitment in the next year, or they're just like not looking even that much forward? They're just taking every day as it comes?
Yeah, because there has been the uncertainty has been the highest. If we were to take the unemployment rate, it stands at 4.6%. It is the highest since 2021. And 1 million layoffs per year, it has happened only 6 times since 1991. So which means the situation is terrible. And we've always seen as a...
Wait, but you're saying this has happened 6 times since 1991?
Yeah.
That there have been more than 1 million people who have been laid off in a year?
Yeah, it could be layoff, it could be temporary layoff, all of this together, including government jobs as well. Not just the tech jobs, but government, retail, technology, telecommunication, including.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
So since 1991 or 1993.
But if it's happened 6 times since 1991, then it means it's something that companies are used to dealing with also. So there is a chance that they might recover in the future, or you don't see that?
Correct. Earlier cases were different. If it's 1991, then probably there was 2008, and then maybe a few years in between before 2020. These years were different than what it is right now, because I feel that yes, there was a financial bubble, there was COVID. We regained the momentum maybe a year down the line as well. You would see the majority of the hiring that happened was 2021 and 2022, and which was post-COVID. Maybe it was a mass hiring. Maybe we are seeing the effects of those mass hiring up until now as well. But I feel AI and robotics is a completely different picture and completely different world than it was. And people or companies don't really want to hire much because maybe
They don't know how things are
correct. They don't know how things are going to pan out in the near future, or maybe they don't really need as much resources as they really thought they would, because maybe AI is taking over, agents are taking over. Yes, it is at a very nascent stage, but if you were to consider just the 4 companies, Amazon, Apple, Microsoft, and one more, they have spent about $300 billion in just 1 year itself, because they had cash flows enough to spend just on AI. So this is all big companies spending on AI just so that they can be in the game. They have their skin in the game, and nobody knows what, how, and where it's going to pan out. But the only way out to get through it is just to see whether we can be a fit into any of these markets and just try to get the first foot into the door, not necessarily into the space that we were looking for to get into.
So I was reading that, the top 3 industries that Indians actually target are big tech, consulting, and finance. All right.
Correct.
And it seems to me, based on what you're saying, that these are the 3 industries that have been affected the most.
Correct.
So apart from these, are there any industries that you think students should be focusing on which are actually hiring now, but people aren't actually applying to them?
Correct. So of me mentoring to so many students, I've seen one commonality for especially with people who have few years of experience, say 2 to 3 years of experience. Let's consider that they have their experience in a certain industry, let's say travel industry. More likelihood of them getting at least the interview calls, if not job, would be from the travel industry. So I would refrain from saying that don't apply to tech, don't apply to finance, or don't apply to tech jobs or maybe other jobs, because maybe they have experience in that industry. Maybe they were from banking industry. Maybe banking is affected right now, but their highest chances of getting interview calls are from the industry and from the role that they have worked in the past. This is specifically for people with at least 3 years or 2 to 3 years of experience. That's the notion that I've always seen, which is why I highly recommend them to apply to only the industry that they have worked in the past and the roles that they have worked in the past. Sometimes they have a very this is one of the major mistakes that I've come across for any job seeker, be it a fresher or be it experience, is that they feel that if they apply to a wider nest of roles or titles, they have higher chances. But that is not usually the case. That is the case during internships, yes, maybe, but not during the full-time search. I would highly recommend to bottle down the niches. And this entire journey of them getting to know that not all the roles are going to work for them, it will take time for them, which is 4 to 5 months after they start looking for a job, or 4 to 5 months after graduation. But eventually a job seeker realizes this, that it is not that I should be applying for 5 or 6 job titles. It is just the top 2 or maximum 3 job titles that I should be aligning to, because these are the only 3 job titles that align extremely well with my resume, that align extremely well with the experience that I've had in the past, or aligns very well with the projects that I've done. So major mistake that I often see is them applying to at least 6 to 7 job titles, because they are coming with a school of thought that the more titles that I apply to, the wider my nest becomes, and then more my chance of getting an interview. But that is not usually the case. That is something that I've seen more often.
I wanted to dig deeper on the whole experience part. You said that students should ideally do 2 to 3 years of work experience before flying to the US.
Right.
And then they should apply to roles for which they already have experience.
Correct.
Now, what I have noticed with students is whether they have experience or not, they're going to the United States because they want to get into a certain industry.
Right.
And more often than not, they don't have experience in that industry. Correct. So, for example, you find a lot of people who, let's say, after engineering will do a job with something like a TCS or an Infosys. Then they apply for a master's in AI. Why? Because they want to get into an AI-based role.
Correct.
So are you then saying that even if they have 3 years of experience in, let's say, software engineering, they may not get that AI-based role? Is that what you're saying?
So if you were to take a step back, when I think you everything that you're mentioning is about pivot. Anyone, say for example myself as well, who is pursuing any master's degree or an MBA or any kind of a degree, would want to pivot because they are bored or they want to explore something else. Say someone is a software developer, they want to get into a product management. Someone is a product manager wanting to get into consulting. Someone is data analyst wanting to get into maybe data engineering, or maybe totally a managerial role, which I totally agree upon, because that is the very basis of someone pursuing masters, spending so many thousands of dollars, moving 10,000 miles across the country to some other country and wanting to live by themselves, which is absolutely true. But I feel pivoting in this market is not the right approach or not the right way to do it, because we want to be on a safer side. We want to be on a safer net. This is for someone who is already in the US wanting to look for a job, or this is for someone who has just started this fall intake, which is fall of 2025, and they are done with the first semester. This is for someone who are graduating this December or May of next year. Pivoting may not be the right option as of now, because say for example myself as well, I was looking to pivot to a product management role or maybe a consulting role. I did that for almost 3 to 4 months of my entire job search. You can in a way say that I maybe wasted exploring the time looking for a product management role. I realized that even though I built a product of my own, I wasn't as much eligible to get into a role which was product based, because I did not have the title of product manager. This is just my example. There will be millions other examples of this as well. And 4 months down the line, I realized that this is not my space. This is something I'm not even getting a single call for. I hardly just got maybe 1 or 2 calls. Then I pivoted to a strategy. What if I apply to the roles that closely align with my US experience, which was into Lean Six Sigma consultant, process improvement. I had a green belt in Lean Six Sigma. I had worked with a company for about 8 months, which was a co-op, which added very much value to my experience. And since I was looking for similar roles, for example, my roles would be process improvement, Lean Six Sigma consultant, or similar to those, or process engineer. These are similar roles that value the experience that I had. That is when I saw major increase in the number of calls that I was getting. And the call that I also got at Goldman was named, the title was named as Business Process Engineering Analyst, which was exactly same as what I had done in the past, which was something that they were looking for. Someone who is a consultant, Lean Six Sigma, knows how to improve the processes, knows how to remove the non-value added steps. All of this, something that I had done in the past. And what I was looking for was an interview, which I got. And then it totally depends on an individual how you crack the interview, and we'll talk about the interview sessions as well. But that depends on the individual. So coming back to the point that I've always felt, pivoting is not the right strategy as of now. On paper, you might be an exceptional storyteller of wanting to tell the recruiter that, hey, these are the 5 transferable skills that I have that will make me a good consultant, good product manager. But the question I feel the job seeker needs to ask is, am I the right fit for this role as of today?
Based on my experience,
Based on my current experience, or based on my any experience that I have, can I be a good product manager today? Do I know how to do the product management roles today? Do I know how to become a good consultant, or have I experienced becoming a consultant, or have I experienced a consulting role ever before? Because that, if the answer is no, which basically means that you're wanting to pivot. And that is not the right approach as of today, given this market, given this situation. So what's the solution to it? Basically, just try to get into the role that you feel very confident about. If you are confident, which basically means that you have all those things included in your resume, that is why you are confident talking about it. That is why you have so many stories to talk about it. That is why you have built so many projects around it. That is why you have had the experience in that role, in that industry for however long, maybe 2 or 3 years. So your highest chances of at least getting your first foot into the door is at the company or the industry that you have worked in the past, as I mentioned earlier, and in the role that you have worked in the past. Because when a recruiter sees your profile, they'll be confident that yes, this person has done this role before. Even if it's a different industry, doesn't matter. Say you were a software developer in a finance firm and you applied for a software developer in a manufacturing firm.
So industry pivot is possible, but role pivot is much more challenging in today's environment.
Correct, true. Because role is the crux where they don't want to spend much time, energy, effort. Correct. But if you are well versed with the crux of the role, the core of the role, then it becomes easier. Then absolutely fine. If you were to take just my example, maybe I can be an outlier, but I did process improvement and Lean Six Sigma in a manufacturing company.
Yeah.
Then I am doing a process improvement and Lean Six Sigma at a finance firm.
Correct.
It's poles apart. But the reason I got the call was because I had a similar experience.
Yeah.
So similarly, because we are knee deep into something that we can't get out of. This is for students who are already in the US. There is no way that we come back right now. There is no point looking back as well. There is no point questioning decisions that you have otherwise made, right? We only think about decisions that we otherwise made when we are not at the right spot or where things are not going better with us. That's the only way. That's the only time when we feel like looking back and changing the decision. But I feel the only way to get through this is strategically trying to figure out how do we increase our chances of getting lucky.
So you mentioned, coming to the strategy part, you mentioned that your internship experience is something that you leverage to get your full-time offer.
Correct.
Before that, you had mentioned that come to the United States with a few years of experience. If I were to put you in a spot and ask you, what's more important, your experience in India or your experience in United States through an internship to get that final job offer, which one would it be and why?
I would say 90% of my experience in the US, or anyone who has experience in the US, even if it's an internship experience or even if it's an co-op experience. To give an example, I went through about maybe 7 or 8 rounds. Not even one person, I think just one individual asked me about what I did in India. But of the 8, 7 asked me about what I did in the US. One of the major reasons for that could be because that was the experience that was closely aligned with what they were looking for. Plus, they had a confident they had a confidence that yes, this person has worked in the US, been in the US culture, has the experience from the US. So I've always seen much confidence and leverage for the students who have experience in the US as well. There are many students that I've spoken to who had US internship co-op, and those were the people who got more calls than someone who also had 2-3 years of experience in India as well. So both work different ways. Coming back to the point is which one is relevant.
Yeah.
Which one is relevant? If even if the 8-month internship of mine in the US was relevant, that added much value of the experience or of the experience that I had in India, which was worth 4 years or 5 years.
But then tell me one thing. On one hand, you're saying that, employers are not willing to take those people who come from a different background. At the same time, you got an internship in a different area, compared to what you were doing in India. So both those two things are contrary to one another. Or is it that you're saying that for internships, they might be willing to, even if you don't have that experience, they're willing to give you? Like, how does that work?
Right. Internship and full-time are totally different game. When someone...
So the employer is not thinking the same way?
No. Definitely not. They are not thinking the same way because the time put in, the efforts, the money, everything is different. For internship, the recruiter or the hiring manager is hiring someone for just 12 weeks. They are not willing to spend so much time, energy, effort looking for the perfect candidate. That is when the nest of looking for different job titles should be higher.
Got it.
If you are applying for an analyst role, apply for all the analyst role. Even if it's a business analyst, maybe an operation analyst, maybe manufacturing analyst, logistic analyst, all the different kind of analyst is absolutely fine. Correct? That internship is where the nest could be wide, as much wide as possible. Say you do 5 to 6 job titles because what you want is an interview call. That's all you're looking for. And very rarely you will see that students are going through say 4 or 5 rounds of interview in the internship as well. Maximum that I have seen from people around me would be just 3, maximum 4 rounds. But I think 3 is the average where they are just trying to see, do you have the basic skill set to do this job or not?
Got it.
They are not trying to go in depth of I am hiring an individual for $100,000 or maybe 140, 150. Then I will delve as much deeper as I possibly could to make sure that this individual is the absolute correct fit for the role that we are looking for or for the responsibilities that we have for this particular role. But internship is both the parties know that it's a 12-week program.
Yeah, the stakes are lower. So even the companies are not scrutinizing your profile so much.
Correct. And it's an internship. So it's an internship. They are not looking for an person with a full scale development of that role. Even if you are wanting to learn that role, even if you are trying to get hands into that particular role, that is also absolutely fine. But that's when I'm mentioning about someone moving from one industry to another industry, more likely the reason is the experience alone. And it could be any experience. It could be experience from their home country, or it could be experience in the US. Whatever experience that you have, if it closely aligns with what they are looking for, but it's a different industry, you still get a chance of at least interviewing. And in the interview, you make sure that you bridge the gap. That how do I justify my transfer from manufacturing to finance, or from some tech company to retail, or from retail to a consulting firm? It's up to you. It's up to how you transform your experience into something, or transform your experience into a story that aligns very well with the industry that the company that you are interviewing for.
Got it. So based on what you told me, it seems like, if someone wants to crack a full-time job in the US, of course, experience in India, but also very important is cracking an internship in the US. So they have to get an internship.
100%.
So therefore, my next question is going to be, what should students be doing to get that internship? Is there a set of activities that you think they should be doing from the time they fly abroad, or even maybe earlier when they're in India, what they need to do when they go over there? Can you just throw some light on that?
Right. So there are 4 basic steps for someone who maybe just flew into the US, they say fall of 2025, right? And they have now 6 months to get an internship. 4 things that builds a foundation for anyone who is a fresher, or anyone who is looking for an internship as well, but this is just their first time in the US wanting to explore. First is trying to figure out their resume. Second is networking. Third is trying to figure out what roles to apply for. And fourth could be maybe determining how exactly they want to build the profile and build the projects. So let's go to the first one. Let's start with resume. Resume is the summary of your life, not your entire life.
Yeah.
Is what I feel. So anything averaging between 500 to 550 or maximum 600 words should be how a resume template should look like.
But that's like only one page, you're saying.
Correct.
So not more than that.
Not more than that is what I recommend and is what I have seen people with.
Okay.
Yes, there is debate about two-pager or three-pager resume. If it works for someone, then definitely yes. There is no hard and fast rule. There is no perfect template for a resume. You get the resume. If it's a one-pager, you are able to just give a gist of your life because that's what a recruiter is looking for. I would say they hardly have less than 15 seconds to figure out whether the candidate has enough data points for even to get them shortlisted, internship wise, not for full time, internship wise. Full time also more or less the same time, but maybe they would delve deeper into an individual experience.
Right.
But for internship, I feel 15-20 seconds is where they just glance through your resume, try to check if you have the projects relevant to the job responsibilities that they are looking to hire for, if you have some relevant internship experience or experience from your home country that they can try to have you answer questions over. These are the basic things. Try to bold the numbers, try to have a proper section of skills and tools, try to build the projects which are around the roles that you are looking to get hired for, right? Projects could be 10,000 different things, right? But try to have a projects that aligns closely with the role that you are applying for. If you are doing a product manager, try to do case studies. If you are a business analyst or any data engineer or data scientist, try to build something around AI agents, RAG. Try different types of tools that are there, right? That builds a strong project, which was one of the 4 points. And the first point was resume. Second is project. Third one would be networking as much as possible. Now, during networking, everyone talks about networking. Like, how do you do networking? Everyone just keeps talking about it. But few basic steps of where do you see the maximum number of people replying to your text would be something commonality. Say we both are from Vidyalankar, undergraduate. We say we both are from graduate Syracuse University. We have a commonality between both of us, and you have the highest I have the highest number of chances of you replying to me because we have a commonality.
Right.
And that is how I framed my message request as well. That, hey Amaya, I'm a Syracuse alum or I'm a Vidyalankar alum. Would love to talk to you. I see that your profile, you work as a business analyst or a data analyst, whatever role that you're looking forward to getting into. Would love to chat about what do you do on a day-to-day basis, or would love to know more about how I can improve my profile to get hired into this specific role. That is a very basic thing. People really think too much about networking. You just start with one thing, which is trying to get in touch with your alumni. That's it. Just try with one basic thing, is try to get into touch with as many alumni as possible. And another niche filter could be to figure out if they are for the role that you are looking to get hired for. If you want to get into business analyst as a business analyst and they are business analyst as well, try to do more of that outreach than some random profile of the alumni as well. That is one another niche. So resume, networking, then third was projects, and fourth is how many roles should I apply to. That is the basic foundation of someone. You cannot be applying to a product manager but software engineering as well. Both are opposite parts of the spectrum, and they don't really mesh well together.
Yeah.
Yes, you do business analyst, you do data analyst, you do data engineer, maybe, but all of these are probably in the same pool, right? Product manager becomes a managerial role, maybe towards consulting side. But yes, you can have 4 to 5 job titles. This is specifically for internship as well. I have 4 to 5 job titles, but try to have them around have them around a specific niche or within the same pool. Try to have them around. Yes, someone really wants to get, because they feel that internship is my only bet to get as a product manager, or internship is my only bet to pivot from what I have been doing in the past, or whatever I've been doing in the past for the past 2-3 years, whatever. Maybe go for it, apply, but keep the portion just 20% of the entire 100%. Keep the entire other 80% for your role that you feel you'll possibly get through it. 20% for something which is a little optimistic at this point in time, so that you also don't feel that you did not take a chance or you did not apply for it at all. So I feel this 4 instance creates a really good foundation for anyone who's looking for an internship, or who just recently flew to the US and they are just started their journey of masters. This 4 will create a foundation, and it is not that this is to be done for a specific time frame or specific time period. This has to be continued up until you get a full-time job. Because networking is not a one-day thing. Building a resume is not a one-day thing. Building projects is again not a one-day thing.
It's a continuous process.
It's a continuous process that you keep evolving, because you feel that maybe this resume even up until now I still keep updating my resume, because it's a everlasting process. You as much as you can do, you'll have new things to add on to. But someone also should not wait for the perfect resume. Perfect resume is a myth. You have to keep evolving. Have a basic template, sit down, just one day sit down and figure out what you want to do. There have been instances, I know of this problem because I've gone through. I'll sit down and there are so many things to do and I just don't know which one to start with. I want to apply for jobs. I want to tailor my resume. I want to network as well with people, and then I want to do something else as well. All of this chaos creates me to do nothing, absolutely nothing. So what I figured was just pick one thing a day. That this 1 hour is just for me to refine my resume. That's it. Nothing else. I'm going to do nothing else but just open my laptop and tailor my resume as much as possible. Similarly, do that for networking. Do that for projects, and do that to figure out what roles you want to apply to. But this 4 creates a good foundation for anyone who's just entered the US looking for internship, or will be looking for full-time roles as well.
So out of these 4 things, I want to focus a bit more about networking. And the reason is because we're not taught how to network in India.
Correct.
And so naturally, I feel like, Indians are a bit shy. They don't know, how to go about the process. So one thing I want to ask is that, okay, you're saying that reach out to, alums, reach out to other people. Realistically, how many people should one be reaching out to get, say, one response? Like for one response, like do you need to reach out to 5, 10, 50? Is there any estimate, or there's nothing like that?
See, even since we are delving deeper into networking, there is a purpose of why you reach out to a specific individual for. So initially when you are just starting off your journey in the US and probably want to network with similar people who are within the industry that you're looking to get into, or within the role that you're looking to get into, I would say reach out to people and start the conversation. Referral part is different. We can get to that later on.
Not referral, but like how many people do I need to reach out to just get a response? Because many times people don't even reply.
Correct. And this will often happen, and it's a part of the process. You have to go through it, and everyone has to go through it. I went through it as well. There will be days where I've reached out to 20-25 people and maybe just hardly one reached back to me. There were days where I reached out to 10 people and then 7 reached back to me. But that's why I went down to the niche of who these people were who reached back to me, and majority of them would be alums.
Got it.
And there are people who do networking, but they are going in all direction of doing networking, is reaching out to every Tom, Dick and Harry to just get the response. They would not, because there is no commonality or there is no connecting bridge that you have created between the two individuals who want to talk. And the tougher part is later on when someone accepts the request. Say you accepted the request, but now what? How do I gauge the conversation?
How do you take it forward?
How do I take it forward? That's why it is important to make sure that you, in the connection request itself, you let them know what your ask is. What you are reaching out for. Is it a referral? Is it a 10-minute coffee chat? Are you wanting to know more about them? Are you wanting to review your resume? what is it, what's the ask is about. And I've seen majority of the people who reach out to me as well, or reach out to anyone who's a professional working, the ask is not clear. That's why taking forward the conversation becomes little difficult.
What is the best ask in your opinion? Like if I'm reaching out to someone completely blank slate, don't know this person, yes, maybe there's some commonality, went to the same college and whatnot.
Correct.
Because my ask can't be too big also that the other person does not reply.
Correct.
But at the same time, it shouldn't be so small that it doesn't move things ahead.
Correct.
So, what is that
Right.
right balance?
I feel the ask should be based on what your requirement is at that point in time. For example, someone who is just starting off the journey in the US or anywhere else, they want to have the interaction and want to know more about the other individual who's working in that industry, working in that space, working in that role. That is one set of ask, where the ask directly could be just try to be as much specific as possible. Like, hi, I am a Syracuse alum, or I am a VIT alum. I came across your profile. I am wanting to get into the profile that you are working at. Would you love to have a 15-minute coffee chat? Like, very specific, very precise. You know what I'm looking for. Either it's a yes or a no question. There is a commonality. I bridge the gap with asking the direct and a specific question. That is something people should do for about a year and a half, right? Because that's where they're trying to build this conversation. The other person knows about you. Later down the line, during the internships or full time, if you happen to see a role in their company, you can directly reach out to them asking for a referral or requesting for a referral or their endorsements, because you have already spoken to them. There's another thing that I did was to directly ask, might be ethical, might not be ethical, is I was 3-4 months into unemployment and I was looking for referrals, right? So I used to reach out to my common network, people in the common networks, alumni, and be specific that, hi Amaya, I have about 5 years of experience working as so and so and so and so company. I came across a role that aligns very well with my experience. Could you please endorse me to this role, or could you please refer me to this role? Right? Someone who feels that directly asking for a referral is not good, to each their own. But I was desperate enough to get a job, so that is the path that I took. Right?
Did that help, like asking for direct referrals, or that?
Yeah, it helped me. It helped me a lot. So that's why one of the major things of referral, especially for looking for a referral for a specific role, is that you have to reach out to more people to increase the turnaround time. Because say you reached out, you come across a role at Tesla, right? You reach out to 7 or 8 people. The turnaround time might not be quicker, because you want to make sure that you apply in the next 48 hours or at least 72 hours at max. People are always in the dilemma that I reach out for a referral, and what if the role is taken down? I reach out for a referral, or maybe it's too late for me to apply anyway because there are a lot of applicants in that case. For referrals, is if we are talking about referrals, I'll go one step deeper as well. For someone with few years of experience and wanting to take a referral when there is a 70 to 80% match of your job description with the resume.
Got it.
70 to 80%. I'll explain the reason. Is very simple. When a recruiter sees the profile, they see a good match with the profile. They see, okay, this person has done enough responsibilities to at least give a call, or at least to be in the queue, be in the pool. And the second one is there is a person from the company vouching for you for that specific role, which adds leverage, which adds value to the referral. Now, majority of the people are always in the dilemma, how long should I wait? I feel referral is like, take a referral until you get one.
Got it.
Wait for it, because there is no way around it. Even if you were to apply through a normal route, you would be way down below the applicant, where probably the recruiters might or might not reach you. A referral, I have seen most likely work very well for people with a few years, 2 to 3 years of experience a lot. Because I had mentioned that they have their experience that they can leverage. They can tweak they can tweak the experience that they want, the way they want to. They can tweak the projects more, probably a little bit closer to the industry that they're looking for. All of that favors for the people who have a few years of experience. So that's why there are different strategies, right? And a referral is a strategy which needs to have a patience game. Like you can't lose out on the patience where you just feel restless and you just apply to the role. You are neither here nor there. You waited 24, 48 hours for someone to refer you, but someone did not. And now you're wanting to apply to the role where there's already 500, 600 applicants, which is why I always stress upon, if you want to take a referral, reach out to 12, 15 people from the same company. Try to introduce, try to sell yourself in the note itself, that why you could be a good candidate and if they could endorse you for the role. People are kind enough on LinkedIn. It's just of us reaching out to them. It's just about us being shameless, and works in all the realms of life, not just to take a referral, but for any other opportunity that you want to reach out for, any other cold emailing shamelessly, you want to do it for a CEO or a founder you want a role in. So all of these work, it's just you have to be very shameless about it.
Yeah, I had a question around that. Shameless is the right word to use, but like I feel like, in like Indians are not, like they're very shy to ask for help. So how does one overcome that? Because here you're saying that, okay, if you want to improve your chances, you need to reach out to multiple people every week for at least a year. But people don't even know how to talk to new people that they meet.
Correct.
So you have any tips to manage the emotional stress that comes with, okay, how do I reach out to this person? What do I write? Like any tips around that?
See, we've always heard about something like, if you don't ask, the answer is always no. We've heard about it so many times, and it's extremely very, very true. And I think the journey of US or any other country for that matter, if someone were to go in any other country, they explore themselves, because we have to do everything on our own. It's not just the daily chores. We have to make sure that we figure out right from figuring out an RA or a TA at an university, or maybe a dining job at an university, to internships, to co-ops, to finally finding a full-time. I feel before full-time, whatever process that you have gone through, it helps you build the foundation of asking as much as possible, because only then you seek for it. We don't have placements there. We don't have anyone who's taking care of us while we are in the process. Is all by ourselves. That is one thing that journey teaches us before we get to the full-time approach of getting to find a full-time job, I feel. And the answer to the question is, the more you do, the better you get at it. I know, it's a very simple or a lame answer, but that is the truth behind it.
So first few times it will feel weird.
Yeah.
Later on it will become very normal.
It'll be your second nature.
Yeah.
First, initially, try to do those first few coffee chats. You will have absolutely no clue what to talk about. You will have not great conversations, but those conversations will teach you a lot. And networking, it's, as I mentioned earlier, it's not a one day thing. You'll have to eventually, as I mentioned, 1.5 year, build the foundation around it. Because if you are a person, like I built a foundation, but there were a few companies where I had not built a foundation with anybody. So which is why I directly asked for a referral. So that's why, to decrease those numbers, it is better that you increase the initial foundation of reaching out to people. Try to do at least 3 to 4 coffee chats a week, in a week,
Okay.
not a day. 3 to 4 in a week. Most likely people are free on Thursdays and Fridays. That is when they have their coffee chat. 20 minutes is also fine.
Thursdays, that's an interesting insight. I would assume that people are open to it on Fridays, but Thursdays is not something I would have thought of.
When I used to do it, I have seen majority of my calls were scheduled on Thursday. They were on Fridays, but the other day, if I were to pick, it would be Thursday.
Interesting. So people are open to meet even during the week.
People are very open to sharing all the insights that they have of working, of going through the job search. Because even when I went through the job search, a lot of people helped me. It's the similar case with others as well. They might not do on a larger scale, but if someone were to reach out to them, they have this soft corner for anyone reaching out to them, because they were in the similar position at some point in their life. So they want to give it forward in some manner or the other. So they will remove 15-20 minutes for you. It's just that, be specific with the questions of what you are asking. Go through their profile. Try to scan their profile of how they moved from one place to another, how they switched from one industry to another or one role to another. And don't get into the groove of can you review my resume. AI can do it better than humans as of today, reviewing resume. But try to ask them what's going on in the current industry. What are the things that they are using that we are not aware of, or what are the projects that I should build around that probably will help me at least get my first foot into the door. And then try to have a natural conversation. Don't have a specific questions to answer, but just ask them about their background, how did they reach where they are today, and a few questions, and of course introduce yourself, and a few questions around how you can make your portfolio, profile, resume better. Not get into like a 30-minute resume review session is what I would recommend.
Yeah, because you're right, because AI can do that better. So might as well ask them things that AI can't answer, or things that you won't find on the internet or on the company's website. Fair. So, till now we've been focusing a lot on interviews. Now I want to speak a bit about the full-time job search.
Correct.
Given that there's so much competition, is there anything a candidate can do to increase their surface area of luck to, get interview callbacks?
Right. So whatever the 3 or 4 guidelines that I'm about to say would be specifically more for people with have worked for people with 3+ years of experience. Not that freshers can't use it, they can, but I have seen of talking to almost 2000 2500 odd students of mentoring them. I figured that 2-3 years of experience and all the guidelines or frameworks that I'm about to share have worked for them much better. So how do you increase your chance of getting job is you increase your chance of doing more things in life as well. In general, if anyone wants to be successful, we want to try hands on to a few things so that at least something works. We don't know which one is going to work. We don't know if anything is going to work. But the reason we do it is so that we just increase our chances. Something will work. So that we increase our chance of getting lucky. The whole point is about that of us being getting lucky somewhere. And I feel there are 4 buckets to it. First one is normal applying, the way we apply, normal application, correct? Second is taking referrals, which we spoke about. Third is cold emailing, and fourth is LinkedIn filters. Consider these 4 as 4 different buckets. The more you fill the bucket, the better your chance gets. Say, for example, you fill the first bucket of just randomly doing application, 40, 50 throwing in per day. You go to 90% accuracy or fill the bucket by 90%. So that bucket increases by 90%, correct? But the other 3, you are doing 10, 10, 15. The overall chances are still lesser. You are not filling the other 3 buckets is not harming you, but not helping you either. But if say there's another individual, specifically for a person who is 3 years of experience, who is doing a 60% of cold emailing, who is using a 60% of filters as well, and who is also taking 60% of referrals, ultimately the overall chances of getting lucky increases eventually. So that's where I have bottled down to. I've seen 2 to 3 things work for the people with few years of experience is cold emailing, is LinkedIn filters, and referrals. These 3 really work very well for them. Especially 2 of these things, if I were to bottle down much more, would be, if I have to have the highest bet, would be on cold emails and then referrals. Very simple fact, very practical reason for that is if I have 3 years of experience, I can sell my experience the way I want to. If I'm writing a cold email to an individual or a hiring manager or recruiter, I'm keeping a short and a crisp cold email, 3 to 4 bullet points of why I'm good fit for that particular role. And then at the end, if they want to have a 15-20 minute chat, this is one cold email basic template which you can create on ChatGPT, create a custom GPT of your own, which basically you just put the job description. It has your resume already. It frames a cold email template according to job description and fetches details similar to that from your resume. Nothing outside of that. Nothing that you are bluffing, that you have not done, which is present in
So it basically links your experience to what the job requires.
Correct.
And explains that in the email.
Correct. That is one cold email. And always do 2 follow-ups after your first one, 3 to 4 days in between. One place where majority of them have an expectation is that someone will respond. But I have a different insight on that. That cold emails are not to receive response, but to have our visibility on with the recruiters or the hiring manager. It's for visibility purpose. That, hey Amaya, here's my cold email, my application, and you know that I've applied to the role. Two things happen: either I quickly get rejected, or either I have hopes of getting a call. Most of the time I will quickly get rejected. I am not saying any of the four strategy is 100% accurate, but something will work.
But that's also good, right? I mean, it's better to get quickly rejected so that you can move on to the next set of jobs to apply to, rather than things just being vague. Like, you don't know whether you're going to get in, you're not going to get in. So I think at least some decision is better than no decision.
Correct. And that's how I feel cold emails have worked. It has worked for me. I have gotten a few calls because I reached out to hiring managers. The myth around should I reach out to recruiters or hiring manager, is it good or not? I feel it, people are too concerned, or people overthink about it. Just shoot the email. There are enough hiring manager recruiters have spoken about it on LinkedIn that they have absolutely no problem. Maybe a few might have, you care less and you move on. But a few things to take care is that don't expect a reply. It is for your visibility. 2 follow-ups after the first one, which is total of 3 emails, is essential. If you don't get a response, if you don't get any automatic rejection or approval, you just move on.
Okay.
Because this is one of the 4 strategies that we are talking about. It is not an accurate one. We don't know if it's going to work or not, but we are just increasing our surface area for luck.
Yeah.
That is the only thing. But then the another question that I've always seen come across is that who should I reach out to? Who should I cold email? Like who is the,
I was just going to ask.
right? So many of them would do, say, applying for an Amazon, and they will look out for 10 or 15 recruiters from a specific area that they have applied to, and then randomly shoot an email, hoping that one of those recruiters is the correct recruiter for the role that they are hiring for or you have applied to. But I feel that's not a targeted approach. You are shooting in the dark, thinking that a few would land, or at least 1 or 2 would aim. But most of the times none land. And even if they would reach back out to you, mostly you would get a response saying that, hey, I'm not the correct person you are reaching out to, or the correct recruiter who is hiring for this specific role. So that is again not a targeted approach. A more targeted approach is, I have one line that clears everything all, is reach out to a recruiter or reach out to anyone who you know is hiring for the role. And you only know this, say, via on the LinkedIn feed, because they post about it. So you know 2 things, because you require 2 things to cold email. One is the name of the person and the company that they are working in. Correct? So if you know this person is applying for or hiring for a role, you can reach out to them. You cold email to them. Correct? Another place would be a filter which says actively hiring filter. If you click on search button, just enter.
Is that open to all LinkedIn users or LinkedIn Premium only?
LinkedIn Premium only.
Okay.
So you must have seen those purple banner folks. So actively hiring filter, you just put in the role, which is data scientist or data analyst, whatever role that you're putting into. And a list of all the purple banner folks comes into play. So they say there are 10 pages, so 100 people that you can reach out to. So these are 100 legit people. Say, let's not be optimistic, at least 20 would be closer to your role that you are applying to, or the seniority that you are applying to. At least 20 if we are not optimistic. At least 10 or 15. But we know that these are 15 people I have direct access to. I can directly mail them. And getting an email ID is not a rocket science. You just get it. The syntax is basic and you get it anywhere. Apollo or Rocket Reach, any of these companies give you basic syntax. Even if you search on Google that what's the syntax for XYZ company, you just get the syntax and you just mail it to them. And these are the 100 or maybe at least 15-20 people you have direct access to. Cold email them, 2 times follow up. And the reason many won't do this, and you would see many of the people comment on the post or reach out via LinkedIn message or email, because that is a path with least friction, because it's on the same platform. You just click a button, say I clicked on your profile, I clicked on message, I copy pasted the message and sent it to you. This is for my satisfaction that I reached out to you, but the outcome is not great.
So what I'm gathering is because there is less friction, more people are going to do that,
Correct.
which is exactly why you shouldn't rely on that,
Correct.
and you should do the cold email. Because most
Exactly.
people won't do that.
That is my point. And I'm not saying that cold email is going to give you results, but it'll give you better results than just just reaching out. If you want to reach out on LinkedIn, it's fine. You reach out on LinkedIn, but also cold email.
Because cold email is a less saturated channel, maybe.
And it's a path with friction. That's why it takes time. You have to find the email ID, you have to frame the cold email, you have to attach the resume, you have to send it, you have to take 2 follow-ups, all of those things. That's why, and I've seen the best time to email is always the first half of the day, before 12, before noon, and you could do Tuesday, Wednesday is
all Tuesdays, Wednesdays, right? Yeah. I mean, even I guess, because like a lot of people, they want to email on a Monday, and I tell people don't email on a Monday, because on Monday people are planning their week.
Exactly.
Lot of stuff going on. So Tuesday, Wednesdays, yeah.
On my company email, I must have gotten a lot of cold email, but I can't point out even a single one which followed up. Not even a single one which followed up. Because that again calls for satisfaction.
Correct.
That I cold emailed. I did that strategy. It's not working. But did you do it right is the question.
Right. Do you think, like, for cold emailing, do you think the subject line is also very important? Because we spoke a bit about the body, but the subject line is the first thing that you see.
Correct. But I feel it can be generic. It's just it's just the follow-up is the game changer.
Follow-up.
Yeah, subject line matters, does not matter. It's going to be more or less the same thing. You just don't want to be too fancy and too outrageous about what you're looking for. But it just could be basic, applied for this role or application for whatever role. Subject and body, and attach the resume. And if you don't want to attach the resume, just your LinkedIn URL should be fine. Just letting them know that you have applied to the role.
Speaking about LinkedIn, you said that filter is available on LinkedIn Premium.
Yeah.
So are you recommending that people should invest in that?
Oh,
Because
yeah,
some people
100%.
look at it as a cost, and I feel if it's helping you in the recruitment process, why not spend some money on that for a few months at least?
No, 100%. If you, like, I feel sending the request as well there's a limit to it.
Yeah,
if you
there
don't
is.
have a premium.
There is.
So ever since if you step your first foot into the US, you should have a premium, no matter what.
And are there any other filters other than the actively recruiting one that you spoke of that people should explore in their LinkedIn job search?
There are a few of them which says like hiring in double quotes plus whatever role that you are looking to hire for, say business analyst and double quotes, and then look for people who are hiring for that specific role. It'll show up, the posts would show up. Then another one would be industry or company that you want to get hired for. The earlier when we were talking about someone, the highest chance of someone getting a call from a company would be the company or the industry that they have worked in the past. So say if I've worked in the travel company before, my chances would be higher at Expedia, Airbnb, Booking.com, etc. So there is a filter which says company, and then you choose the company, whatever the company is, then you do it by people, and then you keep the search bar same, which is hiring plus whatever role. Then it will show you people who are hiring from those specific companies. So these are 2-3 filters which people should definitely use, or more filters. You learn. There are tons of people writing about LinkedIn filters. It's just that you have to keep the tabs open all the time, especially the actively hiring filter, which I find it very useful, is because I get the name of the person I have to reach out to, and that is what I'm looking for.
If I'm using all this and applying on LinkedIn, does my own presence on LinkedIn, my follower count, what sort of articles I'm posting, does that also come into the picture? Like, do recruiters care about that, or that's something I can ignore?
That helps, but that helps when you do it 2 years before your job search, not 2 months before your job search.
Right, because then they can just scroll and see that.
So it's not that whether they can scroll and see it, because 2 months before you go into the play with a little bit desperate that I am posting so I get something out of it.
So it's not the right,
Correct.
not the right image that you're portraying.
Right image as well, and you won't get traction in 2 months, right? And because 2-3 months, it's basic to figure out what exactly you want to write about.
Yeah, how long did it take you? Because I think you have 16,000 followers at least, something like that.
Yeah, around 14-15.
14, 15. How long did it take you to reach?
1 year.
So it took you 1 year to get. Yeah, that's a long time.
Yeah, that's a long time because I had a very specific niche that I want to write about. And then since I had gone through that process very recently, I knew what to write about. So I was just constantly hitting that mark of just wanting to write about job search, wanting to write about how to navigate this job search, strategies, LinkedIn filters, all of those things, cold emailing template, custom GPT, all of those things. That's what I wrote about. So coming back to it, if you are a student, first semester, second semester, you start writing about it. Just do at least 2 to 3 posts in 1 week is fine.
Related to your field again, or the
Related
role
to
that you
your
want.
field, related to the job profile that you want to get into. If you are a product manager, write about more case studies. If you are anything analyst, engineer, try different tools and build something. Build
Right.
a prototype.
Right.
Build an agent. Build something. Build using MCP.
Okay.
Build something. That is when it helps. It has to have a prototype. That is when it helps.
So we spoke about internships, we spoke about the full-time job search. Let's assume someone gets a job. What should they expect? How is work culture in the US similar to India, and how is it different? And you worked in India and in the US, so maybe you're the right person to ask this to.
Right. So I feel the work culture varies with companies, and we all know about a few companies that have a really toxic culture.
Yeah.
But if I were to talk about the company that I'm working for, which is Goldman Sachs, I've worked for a little over a year and it has been amazing. There are parts of Goldman or the sections where maybe it's too much work and it's just the profiles are different. I work for Marcus, which is a consumer banking under Goldman Sachs, and it's a business controls team, looks after controls, risk management, enterprise risk management, process improvements of different processes. And I have had a great time working. My manager is great. I have a good work-life balance. My team is extremely great, diverse. We share a lot of great things on and off the camera, on and off the work culture as well. But I feel I've got to, even though I was hired and I knew parts of Lean Six Sigma and process improvement, but I've in the past 1 year I've learned drastically. And my manager has always supported and pushed me towards the edge so that I just try to keep improvising on the stuff that I'm doing or keep thinking too hard on how I can exactly improve a specific process over some other process. So that's been a great challenge where I'm always challenged to do something. And since the team is great, it's diverse as well, you get a lot of different perspective. Not everyone is from the region that I'm from, so I like the way of working, the way the culture is different. What maybe something's good for us may not be good for them. So it's a diverse culture. We've got to learn a lot. And it's been an amazing journey so far. So nothing to complain about, especially for the work that I'm doing and the company that I'm in.
Are there any parts of your job which are similar to how work is in India, or is it like completely different?
I mean, when it comes to working in India, I've not first-hand experienced it. I've always heard from someone. Since I had my own company, I just did it as a startup or a business. I've always worked that way. But corporate working in India is, I feel it's completely different. There's hierarchy, there's too much work, maybe working hours, 6 days a week. I think we have 5 days. So that's why I might not have much insight on how things work here, like firsthand, which is why I just don't want to talk about ill, or maybe I don't have much knowledge about it.
So you seem to be having a great time at Goldman, which is superb. But it took you 8 months to get the job.
Yeah.
Those 8 months could not have been easy. So how did you deal with the stress, with the anxiety, the depression, all of that?
Yeah. No, it was stressful. I had just kept 3 to 4 months of buffer as a finance buffer for me so that it takes care of me, because I knew the market was going bad. It might probably take 3 to 4 months. 2021, I remember my seniors who graduate 2021 and 22, they used to have at least 2 offers before they graduate. And ever since we graduated, I saw the shift of 3 to 4 months average waiting period after graduation, and it's little more right now. So I knew it 3 to 4 months would be an easy wait for me to get a job. Those 3 to 4 months is when I was looking for the role that I wanted to pivot into, and which is when I later shifted to what closely aligns with my experience. But yeah, anxiety kicks in. All of the most of the students who go mostly take an education loan and go, which
Yeah.
was the similar
Yeah.
case for me as well. So the anxiety kicks in. There's unsaid pressure. The family is expecting as well, but they don't know what's going on, and neither can you explain them what's going on. And then you can't have an eye contact with them because you're just looking for a job. It's been 6-8 months. There's questions coming in. Friends start questioning as well as to what exactly is going wrong. You have to borrow money so that you just try to get through the journey as well. It was tough, and it is tough for every single one who's going through that journey as of now as well. And they are just trying to have one day at a time. That's what I did as well. My only aim was, how can I better my today? How can I make sure that it's 100% that I'm giving it to the job search today? Tomorrow I'll think about it tomorrow. So it was one day at a time and one thing at a time. Kept going at it, used every strategy that I've spoken about, did as much possible as I could. Another thing is, there's no end to a strategy. The end is when you get a job. And every anxiety that me or any job seeker today is thinking of, getting a job will solve all of them.
Right.
If you think about it, you want to pay off the debt. There's expectation, there's anxiety of, coming back with a huge debt, or there's pressure, or wanting to work at a specific company. All of that goes off once you get a job.
So you just need like one success. Basically.
One success. And I've often seen that, don't think in a way that I need a job. That's what I did. It reduces the pressure if you think that you want interviews.
Yeah.
Because getting an interview is a task.
Right.
But getting a job is a process.
Yeah. So basically what you're saying is you can't control the output, but you can control the input.
Always.
So worry about your input,
Correct.
not the output.
100%. And that's why I always say that focus on the task.
Got it.
Because tasks are achievable.
Yeah. Right.
And all the tasks combined makes a process.
That is the process,
So you can't directly get a job, but you can get an interview.
Right.
Which will help you get another one, which will help you get another one, until you go up until the last round, get rejected, then do this process all over again, and then get a job.
In this whole process, what are the biggest mistakes that international students make?
A few of them I can list which are top of my mind. One is thinking that I should apply to the jobs when I'm closer to the graduation, because recruiters and hiring managers, they check when exactly you are graduating, and they don't entertain much if you are 4 months into the future or 5 months into the future, which is true to an extent, to a certain extent. But I feel the job search, the reason I recommend starting it 6 to 8 months ago is not that the recruiter would say no to you immediately. This is under assumption that someone is going to reach out to you, or the recruiter is happy with the profile, which does not happen immediately. The 6 months is for you to eventually figure out what are the roles that you are targeting and which one of them is hitting the most.
Right.
Basically meaning which one of those that you are applying are getting most callbacks for.
Got it.
The 6 months is for you to go through that process, to live that process, so that you know more about it. So you get your best version of resume out after 4 or 5 months into the process. Do as much networking 4 or 5 months into the process. Those 4 or 5 months are for you to figure out which is the strategy working the best for you. Maybe cold application is working exceptionally great for you, but cold emailing is working much better for me. So I would say don't compare with anyone else. Second mistake would be comparing it with anyone else. Like comparing what is working for you and what's working for me. Maybe you have experience. So cold emailing referral is working for you more than it is for me. If cold application is working for me and I got 2 calls from it, then probably just stick to it.
Yeah.
If you want to explore other strategies, great. But stick to your data. Go through your own data. This is what I did. For 6 to 7 months, I must have gotten maybe say 14 or 15 calls. I figured, I sat down. Of that, 60 to 70% were because I had taken a referral or cold email. Those were my stats. So I'm not comparing it with anyone else. Maybe someone would have a different stat. So I it is not unusual that the role that I got at Goldman was through a referral, because I knew referrals were working for me. So I doubled down on those. So double down on whatever is working for you. So that would be the second mistake. The third one would be something that we spoke about earlier, is for full time would be applying to a wider nest of titles. 2 to 3 job titles I feel is sufficient that you can go deep into, because you very well know when you are making resumes for those 2 to 3 job titles, which one is the best suited. You know it when you make it.
Yeah.
You very well know it. And the other fourth or the fifth job title you are taking as a buffer, you just know that it's not aligned to my profile. You are just doing it for your satisfaction. You think you increase your nest, but you are not. And the last one, fourth, would be people dropping out on strategies. Like, I used cold email for 2 months, it's not working. But there are so many different factors that you did not consider. Maybe the market was terrible. Maybe the job openings weren't there. Maybe you did not do it properly. There are so many different factors. So I feel there is no deadline to a strategy.
So you need to
end
build
it
in
when
that
you get a
execution
job.
rigor. You have to
Correct.
keep doing it.
Keep doing it until you get a job, no matter whatever strategy. So strategy does not have a deadline. It ends when you get a job. No matter whichever strategy you do, the ones that I've spoken about or anywhere else, or you've gotten to know from anywhere else, it ends when you get a job.
And any last word of advice for international students specifically?
Yeah. There would be a couple of things that I probably will talk about. Since I've gone through this journey, I know it's really difficult. It's challenging. You are all by yourself. You have no one to talk to. Maybe people around you are getting jobs and you are just by yourself. There are two things. It's just that only control what you can.
Okay.
You just don't think about what you can't control.
Okay.
That is one mantra that I've kept, which has helped me in my personal life as well. That you just can't control what the recruiter is thinking.
Right.
But you can control the preparation of an interview. You can't control whether you'll be selected for an interview, but you can control the number of strategies that you can use so that you increase the surface area to get selected. And the second one would be, there is no point yelling your lungs out on LinkedIn that there are companies not hiring on H1B, not hiring on OPT, or not hiring on STEM. This is something they knew before you flew. So you signed up for it.
So don't complain about it.
So there is no point complaining about it. I'm not saying don't, but there is no point complaining about it. Like, energy and efforts should be saved for what you can control.
Right.
There is no point on wasting or spending energy that you have absolutely no clue about. You are in a different country. If administration or any visa restriction changes, if you are sent to your country, you just go back. That is what I keep in my head as well. If I were told to go back tomorrow, I'll just come back. Because that is what I signed up for, which is uncertainty. Because uncertainty, there was a cost and ROI attached to it, which is why that attracted me. And I went to that place. Apart from all the technology inventions and everything else, I knew there is an ROI attached to it, which is attracting me, and everyone else got attracted. So you signed up for that uncertainty. I'm not against everything, but there is no point yelling about it. There is no point complaining about it. We just knew at the very get-go that this is going to happen. So work on what you can control and just leave the rest, whatever you can. Just increase your chance of getting lucky. Do as much as you can and don't give up.
That is some sage advice, and I think that's a good note for us to end on. This has been super insightful. Thank you for doing it. I'm sure this is going to help a lot of students who are thinking of going to the US, or who are already in the US right now and searching for jobs. So thank you for doing this, Margil.
Thank you for having me. It was wonderful talking to you. Thank you for having me once again.
Okay.
Thanks.